Welcome back, everybody, to episode 207 of Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room, with over 300 beers to choose from at now 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know Two Goalies, One Mic sent ya. I am Duane, your host, my co-host Connor Hurley with his. Is this your first time using the brick background?
Yeah, I've used it before. There's a lot going on behind me at the moment, but I thought it was fitting because I've been a brick wall recently with my new equipment. So I
got some love too from is it the goalie gear nerd or
yeah. A few people have reached out. Not only Simmons, they posted the pads, but Kelly Rudy liked the post and also followed me on Twitter and Instagram. And every single time I play a new team, multiple people come up to me during the game and in the handshake line and compliment me on the new set. So I'm super stoked, and it's the easiest pair of pads and glove and blocker that I've ever had to break in. I think I've played 5 games so far. I'm 4-1. In one league, I have a 1.67 goals against in 3 games. So so far so good.
Yeah. I'm glad you keep track of your stats in beer league.
I personally don't, but the website of our league does.
Even worse, you look at the website.
Well, everybody does. I'm not the only one. So what else do I have? Obviously I have to.
Yeah. We obviously didn't record last week. Just to let people know, because we did receive a couple DMs. I did too. About, I'll hang up and listen. We will be continuing that starting next week with the new start of the regular season. I was at a wedding this past weekend, so I wasn't able to do a few of the post game 2.5 recaps. Our new recaps in 2.5 minutes. As you've noticed, we've been doing those too. So things will be back to normal starting next week with the home opener. But a lot to talk about, Hurls. Obviously we saw the breaking news today with Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov signing the largest deal in National Hockey League history, AAV of 17 schmil. After turning down, I think it was, did he turn down 15 or 16?
Something like that. I don't know specifically.
I'm stupid. I think it was 16. And then, how that affects other contracts. I think that just foreshadows Connor McDavid being the first player in NHL history to make $20 million in a year. I think that writing's on the wall for that. No doubt about it. You still have Jack Eichel contract in the works. And then obviously the one that we're all concerned about, Alex Tuch. I think me and you, we've talked extensively about it, whether it was on here in the chat. We probably had him coming in around like $9 million a year. And even that being a hometown discount. After hearing that news today, I mean, I can't see him making less than 10 or 10.5.
Yeah, I could see 10 for sure. It's going to be nothing close to Kaprizov, who I thought was way younger. I didn't know he was 28.
He came into the league a little later. I know it was the kind of like the Russian thing, the KHL, I think was a big thing in the beginning. But yeah, he was a late starter.
Yeah, I mean, just to put it in perspective in terms of like comparing the two contracts or a potential contract for Tuch, in 319 career games, Kirill Kaprizov has 386 points. In 536 games, Alex Tuch has 382 points. Mm-hmm. So in over 250 less games, Kirill has more points, and that's more of his game. He's obviously a shoot first playmaker type superstar, top 5 winger in the league, top 15 player in the league. With the cap rising, he obviously deserves this. It was smart of him. It didn't look smart at the time, but it was smart of him to turn the deal down. I don't know if you saw the clip of him and Bill Guerin going today. And the first question was just like, "You excited, Kirill?" He's like, "Yeah, he fucking better be." Put things into perspective on where the game is going and also what it's taken to get to this point, because that's still not even close to what a bench guy who basically plays no minutes at all in the NBA makes. I would say it's a step in the right direction. I think the league is definitely in a better place now than it was 5 years ago. And I think Connor McDavid seeing this, Austin Matthews seeing this, Cal McCarr seeing this, and even Alex Tuch, I think everybody has to be really, really excited.
Yeah, how can you not be excited? I mean, How great, honestly, does that Alex Tuch, I'm not sorry, Tage Thompson contract look right now?
Yeah, it looks unbelievable, and
He's making less than half of what Kaprizov will make next season.
it's one of the
of what he'll make eventually is AAV.
it's one of the better things Kevin Adams has done as GM of the Sabres.
Yes,
That a lot of foresight and a lot of trust was required to give Tage Thompson that contract when he got it, but it's turned out to look unbelievably good.
And it would make me want to fire my agent.
Yeah, and even look at Dahlin. Dahlin potentially could be a Norris candidate this year, a top 3 defenseman in the league, and he'll be making just over $8.5–9 million a year. Which, once you see the Cal McCarr contract, once you see a Quinn Hughes contract, it's gonna look. Does he make 11?
I think he makes 11.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking Owen Power.
Yeah.
Either way, it's probably still going to look pretty good in a few years, given the trajectory that Dahlin is on. So it's exciting, and I'm interested to see what will happen, especially in the next week with Tuch, because as we saw 2 years ago, they got the Owen Power deal done the night before the first regular season game, and I think Dahlin as well in 2 successive days. I'm pretty sure they got those deals done. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got Tuch's deal done before the home opener.
I hope so. I mean, both sides seem pretty confident. I think, how Kevin Adams speaks, he's always kind of going to say the same stuff. He doesn't really ever, go away from that normal, like the rhetoric he uses, the way he talks about things. He's never going to give you like anything, actually, I shouldn't say that. He will give you some great sound bites, but in terms of stuff like this, he normally kind of stays the course, the same course he's always been on, or the same course he's always used in the past, for the lack of a better way of saying it or articulating it. But hearing Alex Tuch say what he said when he spoke to the media before the beginning of the preseason, that definitely was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, for sure. And you can tell he wants to be here, and I don't think there's any question as far as that goes. So I think they just need to sit down and get it done. This Kaprizov contract really puts a lot of other contracts into perspective. A year ago, Leon Draisaitl signed a 8-year, $112 million contract extension.
Yep.
And he is, a little bit older, 29 years old, but obviously a top 3 player in the league, making $3 million less per year than what Kaprizov is going to be making. Austin Matthews makes 13.2, McKinnon makes 12.6, McDavid makes 12.5. He's definitely going to make 20, maybe even 30. I wouldn't be surprised. And then Marner signed for 12 a year. So yeah, it's pretty significant, and I definitely think it's going to be the tipping point for a lot of different contracts coming up pretty soon.
It's just going to be crazy when depending on who signed. When is Austin Matthews' next contract up?
I think it's next year.
Is this the final season of the deal, or is it the following?
Let's see. So Austin Matthews, he's a UFA in 2028. So he's got 3 years left on his current deal.
Okay. Okay, crazy. You might not be wrong. Like I could definitely see Austin Matthews coming in. When he probably signs his extension, whether it's with Toronto, depending on how things go, or wherever he ends up playing next. It's not Toronto. $25 to $30 million.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that's good for everybody. It's good for revenue sharing. It's good for broadcast deals. Obviously, they need to market these stars a little bit better. I read an article today that outside of a not even casual hockey fan, I bet a lot of casual hockey fans, and I mean casual, don't know who Kirill Kaprizov is.
Yeah.
And that speaks to where the game is in terms of marketing and showing these players off in terms of how good and how skilled they are. And obviously, I think we all have thoughts on that, but it is significant. And I saw it cut through not only hockey people today, people saying, who the hell is Kirill Kaprizov and how is he making this much money? But puck knowers know, obviously. And it's only going to set the stage for someone like Connor McDavid, who after this season is an unrestricted free agent. I imagine that deal will get done soon. It's tough given what's happened, obviously, in the past 2 Stanley Cup finals, but I don't think Edmonton or Edmonton fans could live with themselves letting potentially the two greatest players in NHL history walk out of their door.
Yeah, it'd be insanity. Like I'm hearing like on the radio, I forget what show I was listening to, but like when was the last time you had the two best like can you remember the last time you had the two best players in the world playing on the same team? And it's like you're literally living through it right now with
Yeah, I
Leon.
mean the only other team I can think of is like the New York Yankees, right? And the New York Yankees are the New York Yankees, not the Edmonton Oilers. So
Yeah.
it's obviously a little bit tougher. And then you look at the Dodgers out here with how much they're spending and how they strategically set up that Shohei Ohtani deal. Like the big markets get the biggest guys, and that necessarily hasn't always applied to hockey. Guys who've been drafted typically stay with their teams. They're loyal to their fan bases and the franchise. But in this new age, with the rising cap and everything associated with that, I could see a guy like Austin Matthews, Captain America, going to a team like the New York Rangers. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
I could, and here's the thing: I could totally see Matthews in the back of a Rangers jersey. It would make sense.
It makes too, or the Kings. I could easily see that. Obviously, lifestyle is pretty good out here for a Kings
Well, he grew up in
player.
Arizona too, so you
Yeah,
think maybe
closer
you
to
want a
home.
little,
Yeah,
he obviously can't go home, but like he can go to a climate very similar to home.
yeah. That might even be more appealing for a guy like him. So who's to say? But it's going to be exciting.
And they're going to be in a pretty good situation cap wise. Obviously, they have Anze Kopitar. He's going to be playing his final season. They're going to have some money to spend here in the next couple seasons. So I mean, I could totally see it if like legitimately the wheels completely fall off in Toronto and they have to make some tough decisions.
Well,
Or if he just decides, you know what, I've done everything I can here. You guys haven't, been able to find a goalie since Curtis Joseph.
Yeah.
So I'm out.
Related to the Kings, and this is also related to Alex Tuch. Adrian Kempe is a unrestricted free agent after this season. He's 29 years old, obviously not necessarily a bona fide superstar, but a very, very good player in this league. He's only making $5.5 per season right now, and I've seen a lot of people compare his contract projection to Alex Tuch's. They're the same age. They've had similar levels of production. They mean just as much to either one of their teams. I could easily see Adrian Kempe signing a new deal here pretty soon, and also resetting the market for that type of player.
I couldn't agree with you more. Where do you personally have Tuch like coming in at? Like in a perfect world? I mean, first off, I'd like to hear your number. Like, realistically, what you think it'll be. Do you think he actually will take a hometown discount?
I mean, maybe marginally, but I think he knows that this is his last chance at a big deal, and he probably has 5-6 good years left. So I would love for it to be under 10, but if it's just over 10, I wouldn't be upset, especially given what we just saw today. He means that much to the team. He means that much to the community. You need a guy like that in the locker room. He's a future assistant captain for as long as he's going to be here. He's the energy source for the penalty kill, the power play, everything in that locker room. He needs to be here for the rest of his career. So yeah, I would hope for under 10, but if it's a little over 10, sign me up.
Yeah. I probably have him right around like 10 and a half. It just, to me, that makes the most sense. I can't see him taking, after everything we've seen, him taking 9. It makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah, and then when you look at the Sabres cap hits, that'll be Dahlin at 11, Tuch at 10, Owen Power at 8.3, Josh Norris at 7.9, and Tage Thompson at 7.1. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw Tage Thompson a Josh Allen type restructure in the next couple of years if he keeps up this pace, just as a olive branch and a measure of goodwill, given how much he's outperformed his current deal, which lasts until, he is signed through his deal through the 2029-2030 season. So we've seen restructures before. Matthews just signed one a couple of years ago. I really don't think it's out of the question if they maybe lower a cap hit for one season so they could sign another guy, or do something to reward him for obviously being one of the top 20, 25 best players in the league.
And it's crazy too, like just can you name a more versatile forward on the Sabres than Alex Tuch?
Yeah, I mean, aside from Tage, who I think his offensive game obviously has a way higher ceiling, but he has improved his defensive game significantly in the past couple of years. I think it helps. Well, obviously, I think a lot of us would like to see him at center because of the way the roster would be constructed. But yeah, aside from Tage and Dahlin, those are the three, right? Those are the three that are the building blocks of this organization at the moment. And you have those three guys, and you at least have a shot as long as they stay healthy and they continue along their current trajectory.
No doubt about it. Obviously, the next topic, something I've been very vocal about on Twitter. You get into the arguments with the certain talking heads in the same Twitter sphere, and Radim Mrtka continuing to look absolutely fantastic for the Sabres this preseason. Again, it's preseason, but I think the one game that stood out is honestly the game they might have lost against Detroit, where I still think he was great. And physically, he stood up for himself, stood up for teammates, and he didn't he didn't try and mix it up with guys that are fighting for roster spots. He mixed it up with Rasmussen and Chariot, or Ben Chariot. Like, those are guys that are big players in this league, and can be intimidating. And he did not back down, and had the ref not gotten in between him and Chariot, I think they would have dropped the gloves.
Yeah, I didn't see too much aside from a couple preseason games, but the clips that I've seen of him, he looks like the real deal, which is super, super significant, especially given the reaction to him being drafted. I saw a lot of pundits, a lot of fans saying that it was a bit of a reach, that it was a bit of a desperation move given his size profile and being a right-handed defenseman, obviously, in a prospect pool, and not just the Sabres. Any NHL team doesn't have a litany of right-handed defensemen, especially 6'5", 6'6". So for him to have that Tyler Myers type profile and that jump as early as Tyler Myers did is a huge development for this team moving forward. He may not be on the NHL roster this season, but an injury comes along and he continues that with Rochester. He is going to be in Rochester to start the season.
Well, he can be, or they'll send him back to junior. I think that's been like the big talking point with him. You have certain people, and again, in Sabres land, that think that he was I think the narrative actually will go to your point, going back to the draft. Like, we all remember the talking points, and then me and you were big Mrtka guys. If it's like, if they're going to take a right-handed defenseman, this should be the guy. You're right. He's big. He's looks like a great skater, can move the puck. We even debate that he's a better skater than Tyler Myers was when we drafted Tyler Myers. He's the best defenseman right now. Not defenseman for Buffalo. That's ludicrous. What I'm saying is, of all the defensemen that are going to be in Rochester this coming season, he looks better than all of them right now. He's better than Komarov, Novikov, Mtka, who's realistically a lifetime AHL guy. He's better than all of them. So my ask is, why are we wasting a year of him in juniors when he could be getting himself acclimated to the pro game even more so? Because people forget he did play half a season of pro in the best Czech pro league before going to Seattle in the WHL. Okay, he goes and dominates. Great. I'd much rather him play a very important role in Rochester and being a part of that solution. And people forget, Seattle's a train wreck in the W. They're not going to be a good team this year. So what do you prefer? Him getting crazy amount of minutes in Seattle? Yeah, maybe dominating. Yeah, maybe playing well there. Or would you rather him, again, being part of the solution for Rochester this season? Maybe he's not playing top line minutes, but he's playing still 20 minutes a night on a second pairing. If they give that first slot to Komarov or Mtka, depending on who plays what position. But to me, it just makes sense. He has shown physically that he can play at the pro level. He has shown his skating ability is pro level. I mean, the goal he scored on that 2-on-1, almost like a give and go with Costa Helenius, the hockey IQ for him to find that seam, to jump into the play with zero hesitation and get himself in a spot for Helenius to get him that puck, for him to score that goal. Like, you're not going to see a lot of 6 foot, 6'7", 18-year-old rookies do that in the preseason. Like, a lot of sometimes you're almost afraid to make mistakes when you're when you're in the preseason, because you're trying to hopefully maybe, get consideration for the NHL. There was zero hesitation in that decision when he made it, and there's been zero hesitation in any decision he's made so far going back to the prospect challenge. He has been Buffalo's best defenseman of that prospect pool. Of all the defensemen there in their prospect pool, he has been by and far, it's not even close in my opinion, their best defenseman.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems that way, and you have to consider all the injuries on defense right now as well. Obviously, with Bowen Byram day to day, and Samuelsson looking like potentially week to week. Maybe having him up for those 9 games. I think that's the rule, right? Without losing eligibility.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's not out of the question if a guy like Zach Benson could do it, who is 2 feet shorter.
Not figuratively, like kind of like literally, like
yeah, obviously plays a different role, and he does it really well, and we're super happy to have him. But yeah, it would make sense that, of course, you don't want to throw him into the fire and have him lose his confidence almost immediately. They've made that mistake once or twice with a variety of different players, but at least having the option to have him up there and learn the pro game and be around guys that have done it before and really ingest a lot of that experience and coaching that a 18-year-old, 6'6", 207-pound right-handed defenseman could absolutely use. So yeah, I agree with you, and I hope it does happen.
Yeah, me too. Me too. How much of the preseason have you caught? I know you've been pretty busy.
Not too much. I've been traveling. I've been working a lot. I did watch the game last week. I forgot who they were playing, at least most of it. But yeah, here and there, seen clips. Obviously, just like football, I like to take the preseason pledge and not place too much stock in these warm-up games. But at the same time, it's at least somewhat representative of a team that I do think is pretty exciting. Obviously, they need to figure out the forward group. They need to figure out the line combinations and also those injuries on defense. Every level of the team, obviously, offensively, defensively, and goaltending does have some questions. But there's also a lot of reason for optimism as well. And, we're not going to be as excited as we were maybe 2 years ago going into that home opener with the New York Rangers. But, yeah, I'm excited about it, and I'm interested to see how it comes out.
Yeah. Let me think. I have one more talking point here. Again, when it comes to the preseason pledge, like obviously you don't want to put the horse in front of the wagon in front of the horse in front of the wagon. What's the saying?
Something like that. The chicken before the egg.
Chicken before the egg. Yeah, that one's much easier. I don't know. But from what we've seen so far, the players they're going to perform well. Your Tage Thompsons, you don't know Darlene, they're all going to show out. You know what I mean? Especially against some lower level competition. But I thought Consta Helenius looked fantastic. I thought Noah Austin looked really well. I was kind of surprised that, given the Greenway situation, that maybe Helenius wouldn't have gotten a couple games to start the season, given how well he played, maybe even Ostlund. But it seems they're pretty kind of dead set on giving Danforth and Gearston, those guys, an opportunity to play in that spot.
Yeah, and with a coach like Lindy, it's not necessarily the most surprising thing in the world that he wants guys that are a little bit older, a little bit more experience, a little bit more toughness than throwing guys like Helenius and Ostlund and Rosen into the lineup right away. I think, as you mentioned, Helenius looked probably the best amongst the forwards. Our top 2 prospects looked the best in the Prospects Challenge in the preseason. Go figure. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Obviously, if they start slow, they could switch things up very quickly. Obviously, make or break couple of months to start the season for a lot of people in the organization. But I'm at least encouraged by what I've seen from these top prospects, and don't necessarily need to rush it, but they're there if you need them.
Yeah, Isaac Rosen, a guy that was really kind of like, kind of shit or get off the pot. Are you watching the baseball game?
Yankees bases loaded, no outs.
And is it still 2-1?
3-1 Red Sox.
Oh, thank God. Okay, at least we got another one. That's not good. And Chapman's on the mound too, which is kind of surprising. Not to make this a baseball podcast.
I mean, no.
I got to go in front of me.
Yankees, Red Sox in the playoffs. Like,
yeah. I actually have it playing in front of me while we're talking too. Just it's on a very much smaller screen.
Given like the baseball allegiances in Buffalo, I actually really like the Blue Jays now. So if the Red Sox end up playing the Blue Jays, I'll probably root for Toronto. But yeah, this is as good as it gets if you're a sports fan, and this appeals, I'm sure, to a lot of people that follow this podcast. This is unbelievable, and the atmosphere is crazy. I don't think Chapman will be able to get out of this, but if you want a guy to go up against, it's a guy that strikes out every other at bat in Giancarlo Stanton. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but the question is here.
Yeah, I mean, Chapman throws crazy heat even for his age, so hopefully he can at least find a way to, I don't know. That's a tough spot for them to get out of. The count is what? What is it? 0-2,
yeah.
0-2. Okay, so all right, let's get back. Oh, they got an out. There we go. So 2 outs to go. Anyways, Radim Mrtka. Yeah, I think he should absolutely. And again, I don't care what the pundits out there say in Sabres land. Like he should be in the AHL next year. In my opinion, it makes more sense in terms of his development that if from how Lindy has spoken about him, how Coach Leone has spoken about him, how his teammates have spoken about him, put him in Rochester next year. Let him, even if he struggles. Struggling isn't always a bad thing. It's definitely not always a bad thing. He is a guy at every single game he's played and every single shift he's played, he has shown that he is capable. So I'm all for, and I'm personally, selfishly, I want to see him play myself in Rochester season because I always catch a handful of games. So, and I want Rochester to push to win a championship this year. We have a lot of stock down there in Rochester. So pretty personally, I think if Mrtka if you're okay with Mrtka playing 18 to 20 minutes rather than 28 minutes a night in Seattle, or maybe 20 to 22, depending on what position he'll be in Rochester, what pairing he'd be on, because there isn't a lot of depth on the right side. There's Meta and there's Komarov, and that's really it. So he has a spot in Rochester if they want to give it to him. It's just me personally, from what we've seen, he should be your top pairing right-handed shot defenseman. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and it would make sense to have your top 3 prospects in Mrtka, Hellenius, and Levi all with your AHL team.
Do you really care? Do you really care about hurting Zach Metza's feelings?
No, I wouldn't even say feelings. I think it's.
You know what I mean?
I do think that he is 18 years old, right? In Radim Mrtka, and he's played one, obviously in the pro league in Czech Republic, but he's played one season of major junior hockey in the WHL, and obviously performed really well and was worthy of his draft slot. But as we've seen, they have rushed guys before, and I do think they know that they have something in the sky, and everybody knows that we have something in the sky, and they do want to proceed with at least a tiny bit of caution while also putting him in the best possible situation.
I agree. Moving on, obviously, Mattias Samuelsson. Not laughing because if you make light of an injury, Paul Hamilton will come out of nowhere and call you a scumbag, as he did a couple times, I guess, this past week on Twitter. But I mean, the criticism is so valid. If it wasn't before, it definitely is now. But this is Ryan Johnson's moment, is it not? He would sign an extension, and here's his opportunity. He's, Samuelson's not going to be, if he's week to week, he's not going to make opening night. So here is a real opportunity for Ryan Johnson to make this roster. Yeah,
without a doubt. And I don't think anyone wants Mattias Samuelsson to be injured. I think the people that make fun of it are grasping at the low-hanging fruit, and obviously everybody knows his history. So at this point, it's pretty moot, right? Like, get him back healthy and see if he can play a full season. And is what it is, and nothing else needs to be discussed. He's got to prove it. And I think he knows that. And I think everybody in the organization knows that. So it is what it is. But as the commonly heard phrase goes, next man up. And in this case, that's Ryan Johnson. And I think it's someone that a lot of people thought potentially deserved that 6th spot anyway. And it's a guy with a lot of offensive upside who has improved his game defensively. A really good puck mover, extremely talented, can give you that two-line pass, can break it out of the zone, can retrieve pucks. I'm excited to see him in that role, especially with a guy like with Timmins, who's a little bit bigger. He can throw a hit or two, and he seems, at least his profile is responsible in his own end defensively. So I'm excited for that pairing specifically. Hopefully, Byram can get back in time for the home opener, so we can have those top two pairs intact. And then I'm still honestly as excited about the defensive core as I was 2 weeks ago when Samuelsson was slotted in there. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think it's the worst replacement in any sense of the word.
Not at all. I mean, we've been waiting. He's a very late first round pick. We've been waiting for, we know his game too. Ryan Johnson isn't a guy who's going to flash offensively. I think it took him, like 2 seasons to score his first NHL goal. He's going to play an honest game in his own end. He's going to be responsible. He can move the puck. He's a good skater. He's not going to wow you physically, but I don't think fans are going to be upset about that.
Wow, he got out of it.
Yeah, I saw. I'm watching it right now. I was waiting for you to say something.
That's insane.
I can't believe that. I can't. But what did I just say? What did I just say? If there's a guy that can get out of this, even at his age, it's him. Guys still 100 miles an hour, 37.
That is so Aroldis Chapman. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insanity. And my uncle, I'm an avid Red Sox fan, big Red Sox fan, and me and my uncle were talking for quite a while before we came on for the episode tonight, and he said that he would have liked to have seen Boston start Crochet in the second game in hopes that maybe Bello could, win them game 1 against, Fried, which is obviously their ace. I'm like, I don't know, man. I think I'd rather take game 1 and put my second best in my rotation against their second best.
Tried and true. You put your ace on for game 1. And
yes, 100%. And I'm fully expecting a phone call from here any minute, but obviously I'll ignore that and I'll call him back after. But anyways, yeah, I think Ryan Johnson, he's not going to make fans mad for his lack of physicality because he's a smaller guy. He's not a big guy, but he plays well defensively. He plays well at his own end. And again, I'm super stoked for him to get his moment, because is there really much of a difference in terms of physicality between Mattias Samuelsson and Ryan Johnson? No, there's not.
Yeah, at least not recently. At least not recently. And I think that's probably because Samuelson's had such a tough time with injuries recently that he changed his game. And once he changed his game, he wasn't as good defensively, which is why he got that contract in the first place. So I think it's probably something mental for him, coinciding with something physical, which is really unfortunate for a professional athlete. It's not a good spot to be in. And yeah, I mean, all the best to him. I hope he's able to recover quickly and then try to prove himself, because that's what he's going to have to do at this point. Everybody's saying buy him out. Everybody's saying trade him, but only he can prove to the organization and to the fans that he can stay out there and play a full season. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, still really excited about the defense.
Yeah, me too. I think Kesselring has looked great. I mean, Owen Power, I think he has a lot to prove this season, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of haters. We have a hater right in the chat right now that I think is where is it? Yeah, I wanted to bring it up earlier, but yeah, Power is a bust is his name on YouTube, right here. Play Mrtka, bench Owen, Sharman, ultra soft Power.
I'm looking forward to the moment he has to change that username. So
yeah, we all are.
Yeah, and he's 22 years old. You can go for the low hanging fruit all you want, but if you're going to give up on a guy that's 22 years old, you don't know ball. Sorry, you don't. Mm-hmm. And I can say that really confidently, that he is one of the better offensive defensemen, especially for his age in the league. And yeah, he can get a little bit better in his own end. Remember Dahlin at the beginning of his career, and look what he is now. So I encourage people. Obviously, you can't preach patience to this fan base, but you can look at players individually and look at their situations. You can also look at a guy like him who hasn't had a steady partner his entire career. Mm-hmm. Now he's got a guy like Michael Kesselring who looks the part and looks like he's ready for that role. So I'll wait to completely judge him until after this season, like a intelligent, responsible fan.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess per Chad D, they're saying Mrtka is going back to the WHL since the Emirates have gone back already. No, if Mrtka was going back to the WHL, he would be back in WHL right now. Him being in Buffalo right now doesn't mean anything in terms of where he's going to be next season. I think he's in Buffalo right now because he's earned more time and more a better look because he's been one of their best defensemen, hands down. So, but yeah, goaltending. Are we going to roll 3 goaltenders this season again? Is the writing on the wall for that? Because obviously we all expected Levi to go back to Rochester, but as of right now, a week before the season, they have 3 goaltenders, and I don't see Georgiev again going down to Rochester, given the way he's played so far, and UPL hasn't played at all in the preseason yet. So, what are we getting? Is this a situation where they're going to wait on UPL till they feel he's game ready and they have Alex Lyon and Alexander Georgiev, or are they realistically going to roll 3 goalies again this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the common phrase in football: if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. If you've got 3 goalies, it's tough to feel super confident about that situation. I don't necessarily think they will. I think it depends on UPL's health and how he performs. I think we all expected a UPL Lion tandem, provided they're both healthy and playing well. And then Georgiev can either go to Rochester or if he gets a spot start here and there, not necessarily roll 3 goalies, or goes down to the AHL and play well, then you could use a guy like that as trade bait. So, no, I don't expect it to happen, but that's also very, very contingent upon UPL's health and performance.
Mm-hmm. You're getting a little heat here from John Park. Low-hanging fruit. Bro got paid, doesn't deserve his contract, gets embarrassed in his own end almost nightly.
Yeah, I mean, like you can say that he gets embarrassed because like you see a goal and like you can see a goal. I'm
not sure if he's talking about. I'm assuming he's talking about.
He's talking about power. Like you can see him
talking about power. Okay,
but his defensive numbers aren't nearly as bad as the plays that you get mad about every 4 games. So yeah, it is low hanging fruit, and there's a narrative that's involved with it. And he's 22 years old, and he's never had a defensively responsible partner to play with him. He also makes up for a lot of his defensive underwhelmings in the offensive zone and how he produces in that realm. So you can think about the whole game, or you can look at it through rose-colored sunglasses. So however you want to look at it, I very much fully believe in him as a player, and I am very confident that he's going to turn into a top 2 pairing. Absolutely, potentially even a guy that you could in 4 years look back and be like, yeah, he had a very similar trajectory to Rasmus Dahlin. Guys aren't picked number 1 overall as defensemen with that profile for no reason. He's 22.
No, I agree.
And he has the talent. Now he has the right situation. And yeah, just like everyone else not named Alex Tuch, Tage Thompson, and Rasmus Dahlin on this roster, he has to prove it. But he finally has a good situation. He finally has a good partner. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. And we've never advocated on this podcast either for Power to be traded. I'm out of me, I'm most critical of Owen Power. I have said in the past, if you had to get rid of one of 2, I was more of a Byram guy, just because I think he's better in his own end, and I think he is gifted offensively. He just doesn't have the same size as Power. But I think that if this thing works out with Kesselring, they finally find the guy after 3 off seasons of looking to pair with Owen Power, that you have somebody there that can give him a little bit more comfortability in terms of, letting him do his thing offensively and having somebody there to maybe make up for the mistakes, give him a little bit of leash, and I'm and especially to the point earlier with the cap going up, if Owen Power develops into the defenseman that he's supposed to be, then that $8.3 million contract
It'll look great.
is a deal. We're all going to be happy with. It's just, can he take that step this season?
And when did Dahlin take that step? When he was about 22, 23 years old.
I think he got there earlier.
Maybe a little bit earlier, but like
I'd
was
say
right
a full
around.
season earlier.
He struggled defensively in his first 3 years.
Yeah, but with Dahlin, like, you saw the physicality with him early on. There was no questioning his willingness to be physical.
But I will say his physicality has increased progressively year after year. Obviously, maybe a little bit more than Power to begin with, but I think Dahlin has.
I don't think Power's physical at all, though.
No, I mean, at least up until this point,
there's no physicality in his game at all.
In his game, but I will say, like, he's obviously, I think, taken that to heart, and I think a lot of guys on this team have had really important summers from a strength and conditioning perspective. So
it's hard for you
using that length. It doesn't even necessarily to be physical. He's got to use his length in the best possible way, in the smartest possible way, to take care of the front of his net as effectively as possible.
I don't think you can really compare first overall picks when it comes to Dahlin and they're two different players.
For sure.
They're two different players. You know, Dahlin has the ability to be very flashy. Owen Power really isn't. Owen Power is just big, and he's, you know, should be intimidating. You know, I think he's a great skater who can get the puck up the ice. You know, he can use his size to his advantage offensively. We've seen that. It's just they're just not the same defensemen remotely, in my opinion.
No, and for the Sabres, that's a good thing.
No, I agree. I just think defensively, and I disagree with you even on a year before. I think Dahlin has been by and far physical since season 1. Since his first training camp with Buffalo. People might remember some of the big hits he laid out in training camp and in the preseason. Like it's just not a comparison to me. And that's just kind of what Owen Power, the position he's kind of put himself in. And secondly, like this is an opportunity for him to prove the doubters wrong. And this is the season. So there's no, you have the guy, and I feel very confident that Michael Kesselring is that guy. So there's no excuses this season for Owen Power. We've touched on obviously the Kaprizov extension. We've touched on how that affects Alex Tuch. We've touched on Radim Mrtka. We've talked about the Samuelson injury and if that'll be an opportunity for Ryan Johnson. Obviously, next topic for at least in my opinion would be I had it written down here. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. I had a thought. Wow, you have a brain fart. Where is it? I had something I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, Josh Norris and Josh Doan. They've looked fantastic. Doan getting his first goal, sort of in a Sabres uniform in the preseason. Very nice goal in front of the net, parked in front, using his size and his body, to find the back of the net. He's always parked in front of the net. I think we've seen a lot of physicality out of him so far. I know you've been pretty big on Josh Doan. Josh Norris bringing a lot of, obviously we've seen some of the offensive flair. We've seen the playmaking ability, but I think one thing that was really stood out, especially in the last preseason game, his ability in the face-off circle.
Yeah, he was 9 for 9 at one point, I think it was. So that's going to be a huge deal, especially for this team who hasn't been great in the face-off dot past few seasons, especially on the power play. One of the most frustrating things we've seen recently is not winning that first draw on the power play in the offensive zone. It's so critical to this power play being even above average, not at the bottom of the league. So if he's able to take draws on the power play and win draws and create opportunities in that way specifically, he'll be worth his weight in gold. So that'll be really important. And then, yeah, Doan looks great. I like his game. I like his forecheck. I like his playmaking ability. And I think he can slot in almost anywhere in that middle six, potentially even the bottom six, depending on what you do with the lines. But, yeah, so far so good. Obviously got to prove it. The offensive output hasn't been there. You'd like to see a little bit more of that this season, but I will say that the strength of his games, I think, will be setting up his teammates and putting them in positions to succeed rather than scoring 50, 60 points like Mtka did. Clearly had a philosophical idea in terms of how they wanted to build this forward group and even how they wanted to build this locker room. And I think Josh Doan is a put on your hard hat, bring your lunch pail type guy. Obviously, those sound like cliches, and of course, you want to score goals, and you got to replace Mtka's goals somehow. But yeah, he seems like a guy that's gonna play fast, play hard, and he's gonna help create goals in that way.
Agreed. And obviously, the big question we've talked about is can he stay healthy? We've already gotten that answer from Mattias Samuelsson. No, he cannot. If Josh Norris can stay healthy this season and be that number one center, as it looks for at least right now, again, we know Lindy likes us to shake things up even in the middle of a game. We've seen it hundreds of times. But if he can be that number one center between Tage and Benson, at least as of right now, Benson, who I think has had a good preseason so far, little carny he is. Like, what is your expectation from him on the score sheet? Like, I think even with his contract, if I'm getting a 60 to 65 point season, I think I'm happy, right?
Yeah, for sure. And also, he's never done that. So
Yeah.
I think that would obviously be great. I think the most important thing, as you alluded to, would be to play more than 66 games, which is the most he's ever played in his NHL career.
Mm-hmm.
To get it 70 games or more, I think would be unbelievable literally unbelievable from Josh Norris, given what we've seen. But hopefully he rehabbed and built some strength and plays in a way that allows him to facilitate that. If he does play 70 plus games and that line is successful, whether it's Benson or whoever else on that left side between Tage and him, and if the power play is above average, I could easily see 60 plus points from Josh Norris this season.
No doubt. And he had 35 goals in that 66 game season too, 55 points. Obviously he's played on a very struggling Ottawa team. It's not going to change much here in Buffalo, at least, and I shouldn't say not going to change much, but the situation isn't much different from Ottawa to Buffalo. So, I mean, you get an 82 game season on him on the top line, 35 goals. I mean, you could be looking at 240 goal scorers on this team next year. Given, who knows what Alex Tuch gets. I mean, I have him penciled in if he plays 75 games this season to score 30 goals. No doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. And he talks about it, I think last week, talking about playing on a line with Tage, how they are both shoot first guys. Obviously, Tage has playmaking ability. Norris has playmaking ability, but the strength of both of their offensive games are their shots. And obviously that's not Zach Benson's strength. And I think he's going to work on finishing this year. He talked about shooting to score, putting the puck in the right places, being in the right spots, which
Lindy was really critical of that too. Yep.
Yeah, he typically always is, which is the strength of his game, but getting in the right positions to score, not just to create turnovers or opportunities for his teammates, which obviously will be really welcome if he is on that line. But having a guy like that on a line with Norris and Tage in Zach Benson, who can cause havoc, create turnovers, get themselves, even you saw the one, I would say the highlight of the preseason so far the other night, that behind the net backhand pass from Benson to Tage for a wide open net. If they are able to replicate something like that or a variation of that all season long, I love that play. And it's so hard for a goalie because your momentum's taking you to your other post and you want to cover the wraparound potentially or a slot from the other side of the net and you send it back while his head is turned. That is a tried and true, really good play. And it's something that I think they could be really, really successful with this season.
I agree. Your opinion so far, I know we talked a little about goaltending earlier, but what you've seen out of Alex Lyon and Georgiev so far?
Not too many opportunities in the games that I saw. I saw the Blue Jackets game. Obviously, they both looked pretty good. Not too many high danger chances. But yeah, pleasantly surprised with Georgiev. I think it's a good chance that they took on a guy with 300 plus NHL games who kind of lost favor with the league given his recent performance. So yeah, I'm encouraged to have that depth and to have that experience in the room. And yeah, I think as we spoke about him with him on the podcast, like I think Alex Lyon knows what he is at this point in his NHL career. He is going to give it his all in the starts that he gets, and he can go on a run at any given moment, given his ceiling and also his floor. I think he's a guy that will provide some steadiness back there. He's obviously a great guy in the locker room, and so far, yeah, I'm encouraged by both of them. Obviously, haven't seen UPL. It's encouraging to see him back at practice and back on the ice, and I think he has the highest ceiling of anyone in the organization at this current moment, given what we've seen of him at his best. But just like everyone else, he's got to prove it. He's got to be consistent, and that falls on the defense also, which I think is a lot better than he's ever had.
Agreed. I agree. I think it will be probably Alex Lyon on opening night, just given you haven't seen UPL play a single game so far, and I again. Could be keeping three goalies be an indicator of maybe their lack of faith in UPL? I don't know. Maybe they see him getting hurt again before he's even played a single preseason game as being an I know it's kind of like them protecting themselves in this situation, but I'm not a 3-goalie guy. I don't want to have to go through that again.
Yeah.
It was dumb.
Agreed. It's purely insurance, and obviously, we all know UPL's injury history, but aside from that, he's been relatively healthy in the past few years. That's not been his issue. Consistency has been his issue. So, hopefully, it was a minor issue, as they said, and he's able to get back in there and be the guy that we all want him to be. That he was paid to be. That he played as well as he did, and he earned that contract. But now he's got to make that contract look good rather than look bad.
I totally agree. Actually, me and Greg Day, we went to the game Alex started last week, and we were gonna, sometimes, if you know a player, you can, there's an area, the arena you go to the family room, you can chat with them after. He was getting some work. He was, I guess he lifts and stuff after games, which is crazy to me. He gets a lift in. And he got a little jammed up afterwards, so he wasn't able to come out and see us because, obviously Greg's brother played with him at Yale. But I shot him a text. I'm like, "Hey man, great game. You look good. Excited to see what the season brings." And he goes, "Yeah, man, sorry I couldn't get down there. Just really kind of trying to zone in right now. We want to make playoffs." I mean, I love hearing that out of it. I mean, granted, that should be the answer, but to hear that out of him, like we want to make playoffs. We're here to make playoffs. And
he is the glue guy of all glue guy. Of all glue guys. I'm going to start calling him Elmers, given how much of a fit he seems like in this locker room in terms of obviously a very important position that hasn't been super consistent for the Sabres since Ryan Miller 11 years ago. So to have a guy like that with his acumen, his experience, his intelligence, and his attitude is, I really do believe, going to do wonders for this locker room and for this team.
I couldn't agree with you more, especially, with the experience, get to your point, the experience he has and just his personality, man. He's just such a likable guy. Definitely seems like a guy that's going to be loved in that locker room. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
What are we, a week and 2 days?
Them all, right? We've hit all the check.
Yeah, week and 2 days away. Super exciting. Obviously, a lot could happen in the next week, especially with a Tuch extension or injuries and the lineup and everything else. But I cannot overstate my tempered excitement about this team this year. I have been guilty, as many have, of having expectations set way too high and obviously being let down. But it's every year is a new year. As much as it hurts that it's 14 years without the playoffs, I think that the Sabres have way more hope than the New York Jets do at the moment. And I think we can all agree that's a really good place to be. It's sometimes they say it's the hope that kills you. And I know a lot of fans are checked out and they'll believe it when they see it, but I love hockey. I love seeing new guys work together. I love seeing new systems in place, hopefully a new power play system. At least it looked a tiny bit better in the preseason. But I'm super stoked, and I think it's going to be an entertaining year. And all they need to do is put themselves in contention, especially in March, and give themselves a shot. And like we said when the schedule came out, I don't think mid-90s is unreasonable if this team meets its expectations for that they have for themselves and that we have for them. I've seen a lot of analytics guys that I really trust and respect put this team at 93, 94, 95 points in making the playoffs. And I think it really does speak to the moves that they've made and the ceiling that a lot of these guys have. So cautiously optimistic and looking forward to it.
Obviously we're going to be recording once before opening night, but I'm excited. It's the Rangers, right? They're playing the Rangers opening night. Yeah.
Name was 2 years ago. A little revenge.
Yep. Who have they added to their?
Oh God, the Rangers are a conundrum at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's see their depth chart real quick.
Yeah, I'm not sure if. They missed the playoffs last year after being a President's Trophy team. I know that they played. They were a much better team than the standing showed, in my opinion, last year. They have a lot of talent on that team.
On the daily faceoff at the moment, these are the lines: JT Miller, new captain. JT Miller centering Will Cully. Is it Cully?
Coyle. I think it's Coyle.
Will Coyle, yeah. Centering JT Miller centering Will Coyle and Mika Zibanejad. Vincent Trocheck centering Artemi Panarin. Crazy that Panarin's not on the first line. And Alexis Lafreniere. Juuso Parssinen centering Gabe Perreault. Excited to see what he does in the NHL. And Taylor Radish.
I was a big Gabe Perreault guy during his draft year.
And then Sam Carrick centering Adam Enstrom and Matt Rempe. They have they added Gavrikov, which is a relatively big signing on defense, with Adam Fox on the top pair. Carson Soucy, another relatively big signing, with former Sabre Will Borgen on the second pair. And then Urho Vakaayan, he's Finnish, with Braden Schneider on the third pair. And nobody needs to know who their goalie is. And obviously one of the best goalies in the league.
Agreed.
So, yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. They've got a lot of talent. Obviously, Shesterkin can steal a game at any moment. He did a couple years ago, and wouldn't be surprised if he plays his best in that first game. But as I tell my guys in beer league when we're playing against a good goalie, take his eyes away, get dirty,
get pucks in that,
clean up the trash. That's how you beat a good goalie.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm hopeful, and hopefully it's a little bit better than 2 years ago.
We do have a request from Gar Gallant here. Before you go, give us a prediction on Tuch's. I mean, we talked about it earlier. We'll do it again real quick. When does it happen?
A week from today.
You think a week from today? I agree. I think it does get done before the season. And I would say a week ago, we were probably having him come in around 9.5. But given what Kaprizov got today, I think this is a good.
Yeah, 10.5 times 8 I think would make sense.
Would you pay him 10.5?
Hell yeah.
I agree. There are people that I know. I've seen people on Twitter that want nothing to do with that number.
I mean, that's fine, but
yeah,
you can't lose Alex Tuch, and he's not going to make more than Dahlin. So I think everybody would be happy about that. A 10.5, 10 million.
Cooley. It's pronounced Cooley. I guess. Yeah, we were both
Cooley. Interesting. Logan Cooley, Will Cooley.
Yeah,
I've heard Coyle too. Who knows? That's a weird one.
I've heard Coyle
good
too.
luck. Good luck pronouncing that Finnish defenseman on the third pair. That's all I have to say.
I'll have to text John Lazarus how to pronounce his name. Given he's like a beat reporter now, kind of like for the Rangers. Real funny. I sent him a message really like 1 o'clock in the morning because I saw. I think he just did like a video. You have to go look at it. He did a video with the head coach of the Rangers with his phone. And it was awful, dude. It looked like it was like recorded with a flip phone. So I recorded I obviously invested some money into the podcast this off season, and the camera I've been using for the recaps, the short recaps, the Osmo Pocket 3, which is possibly the best purchase I ever made next to my MacBook. Is like just sent him the link and he just started laughing his ass. I'm like, dude, you're like the 15th person that's messaged me since I dropped that video. I'm like, yeah. It looks like you filmed it with a flip phone, dude. It was terrible. You should be embarrassed to be in a locker room, and posting content like that. And I think he went and bought himself one today. So, but yeah, I'll have to ask him how the right pronunciation of that Finnish defenseman's name is. That's all I got. We've been on for an hour, almost exactly an hour now. So I got a little bit of a late start. Sorry about that. Remember, this is brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room. Your beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. If you've enjoyed our content, please make sure you subscribe. Hammer that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the little bell icon so you get notified when we go live. Please, 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 if you're watching right now, hit the like button. Hammer that like button. Do a big elbow drop on it. Really helps us in the long run. And if you're not following us, you can find me at Duane S39. You can find him at Hurls13. Find us at 2 Goalies 1 Mike on all your major social media platforms. I am Duane for Cully. This has been episode 207 of 2 Goalies 1 Mike. We will sign off until
Cully.
Any big news?
Cully
on Tuesday. Cully?
You said I'm Duane for Cully.
Hurley. I said Cully.
You said Cully. I think the Will Coyle or the Cooley got in your brain.
The Cooley, yeah. Anyways, shout out Johnny Cullen too, by the way. We miss you, bud. Yeah. This has been, if you enjoyed our content, please follow us. Make sure you hit the like button, especially on YouTube. Leave us a comment. We'll talk to you later. And as always, go Sabres.